Yeah, she's calling back. We're going to try to give her a call again, and then she just added another phone number to the 13-year-old grandson who's possibly with the daughter. Step out with this.
2412.
Veteran crisis hotline's calling in, so they have a female veteran off her medication. She's at work to Safe Haven. Attacking 12, take the check that one out.
6-1 bullet, 2-1 start, take the shot.
Officer still stands for talk? No. Offender in custody? Temporary with thanks. If anyone else close, wait till the result, let me know. Winchester. Danny, the caller and the owner of the vehicle. Alright, thank you. 111-113,
1 Good evening, everybody. Usually after that part of the intro, I get all excited for getting ready to start the show. It's a little 9 months ago today. He was last seen. 9 months ago today. So instead of being all excited that the show's starting, it's when you have to first announce that, it's a sad kind of energy, you know. Good evening. Thank you all for hopping in. Appreciate you very much. Uh, 9 months, and it's getting cold. It's getting cold. Birthday's coming up here in about a couple weeks. So, fingers crossed, prayers, energy, whatever you want to send to Sebastian, please do. Now, when it comes to where he was last seen, Seth joined our show back in April. Late May, early April, something like that. I don't remember the date. Late May, early April. I think it was late May, actually. That's when I was asking him about the security footage. Did you notice anybody walking out with him? Was there somebody parked next to him? Was there somebody that got up just a minute or two after them? Was there something else, you know? Because back then I kind of felt like somebody followed him, you know? But he said the camera angle, you couldn't even see all of Sebastian. You just saw his pants and his shirt. Now, you know, the thing was, and this is, I don't want anybody to think this is brand new. This is something from the very beginning. And it's been a plausible theory since the very beginning, because if you remember when Seth came on our show and he said, after he had just got the proof of life video, the video from the Texas Roadhouse, he had just got it right before he joined the show. And he said he was already asking for weeks, you know, where's the proof of life video? He was already asking for weeks. And the only proof of life video that they could give him was the Texas Roadhouse. So from the very beginning, it was always a plausible theory that he never made it home. It's a question that we've asked from the beginning. Why did we ask it from the beginning? Well, because CJ drove through the neighborhood and captured the neighborhood's surroundings right off in the very beginning. As soon as I showed up, that's the first thing that I did, is I took a recording of the neighborhood, because I wanted to figure out what cameras would have caught Sebastian either coming home or also leaving the house instantly from the first moment we got there. So it's not a theory that's just coming out. It's not a theory that nobody thought about. It's not a theory. It's been a question this whole time. Why? Since since the very beginning when he came on our show. The proof of life video was the Texas Roadhouse footage. Why is that the proof of life video? Do we even know that he made it home? No, we don't. We don't even know if he made it home, and we haven't known if he's made it home in any kind of footage because no footage got put out there. If you remember, the first footage that was actually put out there was the quote lights video. You know, I kind of mentioned the lights in one of my little clips from the live the other night. Just because somebody said they locked the door doesn't mean the door was locked. So for everybody that wants to say, well, she said that she locked the door. Yeah, guess what? I can tell you the sun is blue tomorrow. Doesn't mean it's true. Why would somebody, you know, just like when we're listening to hour 1, we're going to get into hour 2 here in a little bit, but just like when we were listening to hour 1, we heard, don't be mad. No call. No call. It took Seth almost an hour to get there. He told you in the live. Took almost an hour to get there. Not one call. Not one call. As soon as you walk in the door, he was happy. He was happy. He was happy the day before. The day before the day before. Not the day before, but the day before day before. He was happy. Here's a photo. Why would you? It's kind of like what I brought up in last episode. I apologize. I drove the whole way. I took like a 2-hour nap, and that was, I don't know, maybe around 1:30 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I took a little nap, and y'all, like I drove literally another 10 hours, and then I came back, unpacked, set everything up, and I didn't even get a nap. So I apologize if I'm a little tired tonight. But we're pushing it. We'll get into that in a minute too, why I had to reschedule it to tonight. But when it comes to don't be mad, it's like saying no offense, because I'm going to say something that might offend you. The don't be mad, why would... It's like a guilty conscience, right? It's like a guilty conscience. So, I could have swore I locked the back door. I don't want to say that I forgot that I didn't lock it. It was locked when I got up. Well, it's like I said. You might accidentally forget to lock the door after taking the garbage out. You think that it's locked. It really wasn't. You don't want to be blamed for him walking out because the door was unlocked. So you're just going to say it was locked anyway. I don't know. It's all suspicious shit to me. CJ, the Proudfoots had security cameras video you did 3 days ago. If the before and after pics are on there, if you took them or if they came. No, that's my foot. I don't understand the question. It's my footage. Here, let me go to the videos real quick. Hold on. It's all my footage. I'll share the links with you. I don't upload everything. The community knows I only upload about 10% of my footage. And once I get this other tier up, I'm gonna dump the 90% in that tier. It won't have titles or nothing. I'm just gonna dump it for you guys. It's just gonna be a big dump pile of footage. Whatever. Let me see here. Oh, prayers, man. Prayers, man. What's up, everybody? Thank you for hopping in. I apologize. I am a little tired, but we're going to push. The security footage, the one that's debunked, if that's what you're talking about, the real footage is, by the way, if you remember, here's the link for when Seth came on our show. Create a post. What? What the hell? Hold on. Computer went weird. This is when Seth came on our show. If you, what the hell? What the hell's going on here? Embed. What the hell? Hold on. It's supposed to give me like, there we go. Copy. Whatever that's about. If you remember, here is the link for when Seth came on our show. You can watch that right now. We'll get into it in a few episodes. I do plan on watching it with you guys if you haven't seen it. Because the stuff that I'm telling you is true. you can go watch it right now. That video is this. Let me see. I got the Sony front view. This is the GoPro video of. Now it was published for members first on April 17th. We took because it was right before it was right when we got there. We searched for, oh my gosh, how long was it? 2 weeks, you guys? We searched for like a week. I had to take a day because I injured my toe searching for Riley strain. So I took a day to let that heal. Then I was back out for another week, maybe a little more. So, and then I would have started uploading my footage because literally we were going there every single day. It's about a 3-hour drive for me each way. And literally was getting up at like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, driving all the way down there to start searching at 8. We would search, gosh, sometimes we would be searching till like 11 midnight. I wouldn't get home because I'm trying to be thrifty, so I don't stay at hotels. So I just drove back home, drove back each time, back and forth. So I wouldn't get in till like 3 in the morning. Then I'd get about 2 hours of sleep, and then we'd be going again the next day. And literally, it was like, maybe an hour or two, sometimes 3 hours of sleep each night, and just going and 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 going. So the videos, just because they're published on a certain date doesn't mean that that's the date that they were actually filmed. It's just when you're out there, boots on the ground, and you're doing all this by yourself with all the media stuff. That's why only 10% of my footage is uploaded, because literally I just have 10% that I can do titles and go through it and all this other stuff. Any other time, I'm just collecting footage like crazy. Footage. Multiple, Sony, GoPro, Moto, ultra widescreen, HD, just all these different. Trust me, when I can get a media manager that can like literally sit and go through all of my photos and my footage and all, it'd be a beautiful day. But until then, uh, you know, it is what it is. We'll get there one day. Trust me. That's what I'm saying. When I get this one tier squared up, uh, it ain't. You'll see file number. That's all it's gonna say. Boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna start from the beginning. All the different cases we've worked on the last couple years, all the different locations. But so when it comes to the footage, uh, there you go. GoPro 5.3. Depending on your internet connection, you can literally just pause it at any moment and have a crystal clear picture. You can go around the whole neighborhood. I don't even just drive up that street. What I do is I come up and I instantly turn left on the little cul-de-sac right there. Do a little turnaround, then I go up and then turn up at the road above where Stafford is because you turn to the right, you're driving into the construction area. It's got a little cul-de-sac there. You turn to the left, it's a little cul-de-sac. You turn around. I went back down Kellen Lane, all the way up, all the way down. Then I went up through Stafford, came back down, went on that little side street off Stafford, and then I think I went back down Stafford again and then came back down. I can't remember if that one was where I did it twice, but I literally go through the whole area. Uh, and then also, this is the front version. So if you have, and this is Sony 4K. So if you have, the split screen on your computer and you got two tabs open, try it sometime. Seriously, it's awesome. That's why I do it like this. Because literally, you put the front, just like the thumbnail, you put the front one on the left, you put the side one on the right, because that's where it was in the vehicle. And then you hit play on the left, hit play on the right, bam, bam. And all of a sudden, it's like you're sitting in the car behind the driver's seat. And you can literally, so it's a good reference point too, depending on what video you're looking at. If you're looking at stuff up front, oh, shoot, I want to see what it looks like on the side at 4 minutes and 13 seconds. Boom, you go to that video. You can go to 4 minutes and 13 seconds, maybe 4:14, and you'll have, whatever. It's like it's trying to give you that kind of view. That's all the way from back then. That's just when I was able to actually upload the footage. So I don't know. I hope that answers the question. Whoever was having the question. Seriously, it was debunked. Okay. That right there showed you that there was no video camera system whatsoever on the house. Like I said, the reason it was grainy when I was doing the live stream is because I'm out on location. Here, I'm in the studio. It's nothing but beautiful right now. When I'm out on location, I apologize. I don't have Starlink. If I had Starlink, then maybe you'd get the crystal clear footage. But people need to do their homework and actually go to the footage and actually see it and then maybe make a comment or watch the rest of it themselves if they want to. Because really, there's nothing there. So to call in a tip to TBI and waste their time because you have a tip of a photo of security cameras when it was already debunked, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's why I say Julie's skull tick, man, because I don't know, there's a lot of ticks up there or something. They're like itching. I don't know. Something's going on. But come on now. Don't be calling TBI, calling in, like seriously, for clickbait. Quit, and this other, just quit using Sebastian. Quit using anybody's name for your clickbait. Sebastian's, anybody's. It's disgusting when you see it out there in true crime. And then people will mask it with some other heartstring that they'll pull on you just to try and make it okay. And it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not. We all have our own struggles. We don't sit there and put our own struggles to blame it and be able to say whatever we're going to say and use, especially children's names, to promote some kind of personal gain. I'm sorry that your 77,000 followers ain't switching over to YouTube and you're freaking out because TikTok is going to be done in about a month and a week. Let's just be honest. I was seeing it with the Micah Miller case. All the TikTok hot dog steaks, plastic figures coming out of the woodwork like crazy because they're scrambling because TikTok is going to be shut down in the United States. And they're freaking out because you really got to do your work on YouTube. It ain't just showing up and making a fucking clip and all of a sudden a whole bunch of people are I mean, trust me, I saw how many when I had TikTok for like 3 weeks. I saw how many followers and views. I mean, yeah, it's nice, right? Especially when you work your ass off on YouTube and you don't it's a tough game on YouTube. People are always trying to take the easy street. People are always trying to skip the homework. People are always trying to copy other people's work just for their own personal gain, and I wish it would just stop. And quit wasting law enforcement's time when it was already debunked right there. Crystal clear footage. Now, we heard a lot of crazy stuff in episode 1. By the way, I apologize. I'm tired as hell right now. Let me get through these things too. The protest. So I had to this is why I had to change my live from last night to tonight, because I was supposed to leave this morning around 7 in the morning, and then I was gonna get here later tonight. Late tonight I was gonna get here. I actually had to bump up my trip because I needed to be here earlier today. And so the protesters, there was a lot of them that weren't going. Some of them did go. There was a few at the church. There was a few out at Market Common doing an awareness walk. So shout out to them. And with me having to kind of switch everything, I was kind of battling yesterday. I was like, man, do I try and do this before I go on this drive? How am I going to figure this out? And that's when it was like, well, I'll just get some extra rest this morning. We ended up meeting for Amber Berbelia's. We met at the memorial. I have footage of that. I just haven't been able to upload it or nothing. I literally did the drive, got home, unpacked, set everything up, took a shower, shaved my face, and then I got behind this desk and got ready to do the show. So, hey, we ain't got to that footage yet, but we'll put that up. But met with some of the team out at Amber's Memorial. We were out there, and then after that, I had to kind of get everything ready. And so, if I am, because there's going to be a lot of work coming up, there's going to be a lot of boots on the ground stuff going on around here now, in a few different areas. And so I'm going to try and make sure that I can get that footage uploaded before any of that. Also, if there's like a Sunday, we already discussed it. If there's a Sunday where I'm not out on location somewhere and I'm here in the studio, I will stream the protest for you guys. We've already talked about it, and we'll do what we did before. And so if I'm not going out on a search, if I'm not going out doing some work on some other cases, then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I still host it, as long as they're showing up over there too. When it comes to the hour 1 and the hour 2, we're going to be having a panel show either tomorrow night or Thursday night. So if you'd be interested in joining the panel show, send me a message. Let me know. And I'm going to try and get not a full panel, but maybe like a half, like maybe 6 people, something like that. So if you're interested, and I want to talk about both of these hours. And so if you've done notes and you've listened to it a few times, and there's some things that you want to, like discuss or whatever, let me know. Reach out to me, because we're gonna do a panel show about it either tomorrow or Thursday night. And also, when it comes to your emails, voicemails, direct messages, calls, um, I'm gonna be getting to those the next day and a half. I'll be getting back to all you guys in the next day and a half. Just after this travel and stuff, and getting a good night's rest. And so we'll be getting that knocked out of the way too. So thank you again for your patience doing this, the miles, uh, doing it on my own. It's time consuming, and being the one that is driving, I can't really do work and any of that stuff. So um, thank you for your patience. All right, so we're going to also, if you want to, again, here's the link to this. You can check it out. There's no cameras. All right, so we're going to get into hour 2 in a minute here, but first we're going to get into, there's a couple tweets from Nick. I'm just going to show one. There's some at night updates. There's some at night updates I'm going to go through with you guys. And then after that, we're going to get into hour 2. Now, the two most shocking things that I heard in that first hour was that Sebastian's bed, the sheets were ripped off the bed, and the mattress was flipped over like he was a fugitive. Don't understand it. But before we watch that, I want to play this video. Now, on the first hour, we played an episode or a clip where he was on Court TV from 7 months ago. It was April 6th, I think it was. When he joined our show, it had to be like right around that time period. This one's going to be from Nancy Grace. Now, it was real shocking what we heard on that Court TV one before we checked out hour 1. We're going to check this one out. This is from April 3rd. And then we're going to get into some of these at night updates. And there's an interesting tweet that Nick had mentioned too. And there's an interesting video that News Nation kind of did about it. So we're going to check that out too. Here's this video with Seth.
Back to Seth Rogers. Seth, I have so many questions for you, but we're running out of our time together for today. But I want to ask you this. I was listening to a statement of one of Mr. Proudfoot's wives. I believe there have been 5. I'm not judging. I don't care who marries who or doesn't marry who. But this particular one named Nina stated that they had 2 children. One she had from a prior relationship, the second she had with him, and that the daughter had braces, and he hit the daughter in the mouth and busted her mouth. Guys, remember, Mr. Proudfoot nor the mother have been named a suspect or a POI in this case. My question to you, Seth, did you know about any of that? I mean, she's on tape saying it. I watched her say it. Did you have any idea that there may have been other issues of violence with children?
No, ma'am, I didn't. And I know that Chris has been in Sebastian's life for a while now, before me and Katie were divorced. So
Has Sebastian ever said to you or tried to communicate to you abuse in the home?
No. He's on multiple occasions sit there and has told me he doesn't want to go back. And I've asked him, why don't you want to go back? And he wouldn't tell me. He didn't say why. He was just like, I just don't want to go back. And it's, at that point in time, I'm just like, okay, well, maybe it's the freedom that he gets at my house. And he's a teenager. And now I'm finding out a lot of this stuff. And I wish he had told me.
Nancy.
Yeah, he was scared. Thank you, Jill. Ticket 95. Thank you for all your tickets. Also, I want to say contribution call out to Danny D, the spectacular supporter. Got that 2+ badge on there. Thank you so much. Sebastian, Wayne, Drake, Rogers. Let's bring him home. Thanks, CJ, for all you do. Keep up the amazing work. Well, keep up the amazing support, because I'll keep saying it as many times. Without you all, I couldn't do any of this stuff that we do. And that goes with the documentation, the investigation, the information, all of it. Every last ounce. None of this would exist without you. For real. Because there's no way I could go through all this work. I already have to catch up every day. I'm chasing the previous day with work, and yeah, it'd be tough as hell, that's for sure. 9 months ago today. Now it's interesting because this was back when there was no CPS papers, remember? This was from April 3rd. This is before CPS papers. Now, remember when he got the CPS papers? Later on. Couldn't share the information. But that's when, how do I say? That's when the verbiage started to get a bit more focused, is a good word to put it. The verbiage started to get more focused on events and what might have taken place and this and that. Now, when you listen to this, and we're going to listen to it again, because I know I dread to think what's in any of them. In any of them. It's CPS reports. I'll give you guys a little piece. So you all know that I fought for 3 years, defended myself in child custody court because I could not get a lawyer, and I had to use I had to make up my own court papers. I had to represent myself in court. I literally had to do it all. And I got advice. I would have to go down to the juvenile building, right? So that's where they have the juvenile detention. Well, there's a separate building of that where it's meant for lawyers that go there to offer advice. It's like one of those community service things where it's like, hey, I need to do this. Okay, well, you need to make a paper like this, and you need to write it like this. And so that's all we could get for advice. Well, it's this form, and this is what you need to fill, what you need to write. Now, the the case numbers and all that. I had to do all that, all the the writing and the arguments and all, the preparation, the statements, all these different things. I had to do all by myself. It took 3 years. The reason now, it was one of these situations where her mom used her against me. It was one of those situations of if I can't have you, ain't nobody gonna have you kind of situations. I told you about the stuff that this woman already not, put me through, right? so so a couple years goes by and she's playing games and it'd be my time to have her for a month or two. Oh, sorry, we're in Colorado. Just weird, It's like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden I get this phone call. And you'll see why I'm saying this, because it has to do with CPS papers, reports. All of a sudden I get this phone call. My daughter, who was 9 years old at that time, 9 years old, her mother was so drunk that she had my 9-year-old daughter get behind the wheel and steer while she controlled the gas and the brakes from the passenger seat. She laid down on the front of the fucking floor of the car and used her hands to control the gas and the brake and relied on her, 9 years old, to be behind the wheel and turn signals, slow down, go fast. Okay? And I said, "What? I got this phone call. Yes, you're the father. We have to let you know. Thank you." And all of a sudden I got this phone call from Child Protective Services that told me all the stuff that took place after they got pulled over, because she got pulled over. The cop was like, "What the hell is this?" The cop instantly contacted Child Services, had somebody go out there. They found, when they actually, because I couldn't go in the house, they found how much, like how filthy it was and how it was just nasty. And the crazy thing is I got my first CPS report because instantly she was taken out of that home. Instantly had counselors assigned. Instantly. And then when the counselors, because that's the CPS reports, I got all the counseling stuff. I still have it to this day. It's hard to even read. I literally, at one point back then, I literally lost hair on the top side of my damn head because of all the stress I was going through, because of the stuff that I was reading. And she had, she didn't even tell me. This is a tough time because kind of breaking up just thinking about it is. is a tough time having to read that stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh. Because I already knew what she was capable of. I already knew it because she did all this shit to me, right? She used it against. Listen, I don't hit women. I never have, never will. It's been something that my mama has slammed into my head since I was born because of my piece of shit birth dad that I don't even fucking know. And I ain't trying to be like him, you know? So I already knew what she was capable of. That's the whole reason why I left. I dealt with all of that just to be able to be around. And then that day that my daughter, when her mom punched me in the face that day, and my daughter was eating her. She was eating her macaroni. Eating her macaroni. And when she noticed that and started crying because she was getting to that point where she started to understand, you know? Mm. So when I'm reading these CPS reports and I'm seeing the same shit that she was doing to me, she was doing to her. That's why I fought my ass off. Because there was no way I would have to be dead before she had to live one more night like that. So I can imagine CPS reports. And I dread it too, hide and seek. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm loopy tired. All right, we're gonna listen to that again. This is April 3rd.
I have so many questions for you, but we're running out of our time together for today. But I want to ask you this. I was listening to a statement of one of Mr. Proudfoot's wives. I believe there have been 5. I'm not judging. I don't care who marries who or doesn't marry who. But this particular one named Nina stated that they had 2 children. One she had from a prior relationship, the second she had with him, and that the daughter had braces and he hit the daughter in the mouth and busted her mouth. Guys, remember, Mr. Proudfoot nor the mother have been named a suspect or a POI in this case. My question to you, Seth, did you know about any of that? I mean, she's on tape saying it. I watched her say it. Did you have any idea that there may have been other issues of violence with children?
No, ma'am, I didn't. And I know that Chris has been in Sebastian's life for a while now, before me and Katie were divorced. So
Has Sebastian ever said to you or tried to communicate to you abuse in the home?
No. He's on multiple occasions sit there and has told me he doesn't want to go back. And I've asked him, why don't you want to go back? And he wouldn't tell me.
Her mom would get so fucking pissed off at me because when she would be at my house, she was fine. And then every time she would come back, after 2 days, all of a sudden I'm getting a phone call getting screamed at. Why in the fuck does she act so good around you? Screaming. I'm the biggest piece of shit in the world because she comes back, acts fine, and then all of a sudden 2 days after that, she's wilding out. And you're blaming, you know? Oh, trust me, Miriam, it was hard because the day that she became 18, I said, your mom is a fucking bitch. The whole time before that, before she turned 18, the whole time, even, the nights where she was crying and saying, because her mom wasn't in her fucking life. Hell, she didn't even pay child support. But fucking, the nights that she'd be crying, wishing she had a fucking mom. And I'm sitting there going, honey, people can change. No. I hate her. Honey, people can change. And I said that shit. Never said a bad word about her mom to her. Told her the whole time, she can change. She can change. Biting my tongue all them fucking years. 10 years old and on. Biting my tongue. Biting my damn tongue. And that day she was 18, I said, your mom is a bitch. She'll never change. Oh. And it's crazy. They do. They manipulate the children so bad that they are afraid to tell anybody. And she was afraid to tell anybody. The only reason that she started to tell anybody was because it was basically like she knew that her mom, she knew that she didn't have to go back to her mom's. Because she was, the state took her right away. The state took her right away. They took her right out. So she knew she didn't have to go back to her mom's. And that's when all of it started to come out. And when you read the stuff that the stuff that she was even doing to her puppy. My daughter had a puppy when she lived with her mom, and the stuff that she was doing to the puppy in front of my daughter because my daughter didn't do something right. It's crazy.
He didn't say why. He was just like, I just don't want to go back. And it's, at that point in time, I'm just like, okay, well, maybe it's the freedom that he gets at my house. And he's a teenager. And now I'm finding out a lot of this stuff. And it's, I wish he had told me.
Nancy, if I...
It's hard to see that, because I was in a position where I found out and I was able to fight. and ultimately get full custody. And it's heartbreaking hearing that because mm, because at least I got the opportunity to be able to fight, and and it's heartbreaking when I know what I went through, and I hear him, and unfortunately he didn't get to see it or read it until after he already went missing. And because trust me, I had restraining orders for over 6 years together at one point, uh living every day like the like she was safe at school. As soon as she stepped one foot out that school, I literally had to have either myself or people be around her 24/7. If she wasn't with me, I had to have her at a family member or a family member over at my place, something. There had to be. It was crazy. And so I can't imagine. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry he didn't get the opportunity. But maybe he still can. It's not over. What's up, typically unique? Thank you. It's not over. We're still gonna keep pushing. We're still gonna be searching. We're still gonna be putting in work. You know. Somebody was like, "How come you're like? Why are you? Why are you? Looking for a missing child with somebody that sent you a C&D piece of paper that wasn't really much because it's worded a certain way if it's legit, and it wasn't worded that way. I know court documents. Um, it's because it's about Sebastian. It's always been about Sebastian. Why are you looking for Sebastian when grandma was spreading lies about you? I said, because it's about Sebastian. Well, why are you showing up to the vigil? Because it's about Sebastian. And I want to say shout out to Busby and Narc for showing up. Because it's about Sebastian. It's always been about Sebastian. I don't give a shit. People don't have to like me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not there. I'm not I don't make it my mission to be like the most bubbly motherfucker. I don't. Now, the people that they'll know we love each other like crazy. We all do because they recognize my effort. That's what I want people to recognize and to realize is the effort. Because look, you can hate my guts, and that's fine. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't. But you know what? I'm going to respect you like you would respect me. And look, I'm out there because it's about Sebastian. Because I'm not, listen, if it was about one side or the other, let's be honest, because I'm tired of the talk. I'm tired of the talk. If it was about one side or the other, then right? I would be doing this or that. No, what I'm doing is what I've always done. It's always been about Sebastian. It'll always be about Sebastian. Period. no matter what. I mean, think about it. At a certain point, both sides didn't care for us. But it's that's based off of misinformation when it comes to my ethic and what I'm out there doing. I'm not going to let somebody slander my name or how I do my work or what I'm about. But it's not it's about Sebastian. That's why we're still doing everything that we're doing and we're gonna do coming up. So to all the questions about this or that, guess what? It's the easiest answer I can tell you. It's about Sebastian. Period. All right, so I'm going to share this with you. Now, this was from Nick the Hat. I believe it was from today. Hold on. Let me zoom it up real quick. Let's go full screen. All right. So the most iconic line now use can't leave. All the cryptic stuff. You know the cryptic stuff. It's the Easter eggs. I love Easter eggs. I give you guys Easter eggs all the time. Now, we're going to go into this here in a second because there's something I have to go with that. And then we're going to get into hour 2. First, I want to get into these updates from at night. So let me go about right here. And thank you all for being here, and thank you for the kind words and the support. It means a lot. All right, so this was from November 23rd. Okay. And we've all known this. We're seeking for photographs, videos taken inside on or around February 25th. So basically, right there, it's like, hey, we need more proof of life video than the Texas Roadhouse. We need more than what's available from Texas Roadhouse. Now, maybe there's people that had birthday parties there. Maybe there's people that were there, social media these days. It's not something I do, but social media these days, take something of what, you're out to eat, you take a photo and share your food, Not saying it's wrong. It's just something I don't do. But that could have a picture of Sebastian, right? It's stuff like that they're looking at the background. Hey, just the photos of being there. You can scope the room and see who's maybe looking all crazy off to the side or something, but somebody's looking out of place, Now I'm shocked that there's not more security footage from Texas Roadhouse, and I'm really shocked that there's not any kind of footage. I mean, trust me, I got security cameras. Shit, it picks up somebody walking a block away. And that's fine. I'll go through all those notifications. It picks somebody up a block away. You can't tell me that one of those cameras didn't pick up the car coming home, didn't pick up the car pulling in the driveway. We've shown you the cameras in April. We've shown you the other cameras in April of that neighborhood. We showed you the houses that would have had camera footage focused on the house. There's 2 houses that would have great footage of the car coming up, turning in the driveway, and who knows what else, whatever other activity, who knows if there was or not. One of them might possibly, depending on the lighting, but it does get pretty dark, but one of them might have possibly taken a video of somebody taking the garbage out. It just depends on that lighting. So it was always weird. I mean, like I said in the beginning of the show, it's not a new theory. It's not. Guess what? Oh my gosh. He could have not made it home, everybody. No. Stick to the work. That's already been discussed in April. Right here, we're looking at real information. Looking for real information. Now, hopefully, and I don't know, maybe there's people that were at that restaurant and you know how it is. Shoot, I still got photos on my phone from like years ago, right? You never know. Maybe they weren't asked about it before. And now all of a sudden they're like, well, you know what? You know what, Susie? We did go out for a dinner that day. Let's go through our photos again. Because maybe they were never asked. Maybe it just, hey, Texas Roadhouse. Hey, what do you got for footage? Oh, that's all you got? Okay. Now at night is like, yo, if you got anything around, yo, maybe there was somebody creeping out. It's like like when Seth was on the show. Did you notice anybody parked next to him? Anybody that was sitting next to him in the footage? Somebody that got up behind him right after them? Any of this stuff? Because literally it's like, okay, if nothing happened, right? If nothing shady happened at home and you made it home, well, then it's all like somebody maybe followed you, something. So maybe they will have. Oh, you know what, Susie? We did go to, yeah, let's go through our photos again. At night's asking. And then they go through their photos, and all of a sudden, out of these other tips that keep coming in, and they can basically give you a recreation of maybe a 360 of the damn restaurant. And they might, you know what, that guy he's looking kind, right? There's got to be something. So yeah, nobody's known. Even Seth, since he got that video, has not known if they've made it home or not. Has not. So hopefully, now they're getting a lot of tips, is what they're saying in some later tweets here. Hopefully they're able to not that bunk shit about the security camera. I mean, oh my god. This was the location of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' last known meal, shared with a group that included his biological mother, Katie, on the night he vanished. Now, they're asking for photos or videos on or around February 24th between 5 and 11 p.m. because they want to know, did he make it home? Remember, the proof of life video, what's that called? It's called proof of life. Okay. The proof of life video was right here at Texas Roadhouse. All right, so the next one, they're sharing it out again. We are mindful of the information circulating regarding Texas Roadhouse in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and its connection to the case of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. I don't understand why people are harassing. It's all about the clicks and views, man. I just don't understand people. I just don't understand. Texas Roadhouse has actively participated in efforts to raise awareness about Sebastian's disappearance. They have engaged in productive discussions with At Night's private investigators and with Dog the Bounty Hunter to aid in the search for the missing teenager. We encourage the community to show continued support for Texas Roadhouse as the restaurant is committed to contributing to the efforts to bring Sebastian home safely. You know, they all are probably feeling so bad and they wish that they had more footage. Now, this is from 5 hours ago. Public update on the search for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, November 25th, 2024. Again, mash green hearts in chat for Sebastian. It's 9 months ago today. He was last seen at Texas Roadhouse. At Night continues its dedicated efforts to uncover, and you know what I mean, last proof of life. Texas Roadhouse. At Night continues its dedicated efforts to uncover the truth surrounding the disappearance of 15-year-old Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Today, we provide new information regarding the timeline and key events leading up to his disappearance, as well as a renewed appeal for public assistance. Texas Roadhouse verification. At Night has independently confirmed that Chris Proudfoot, the stepfather of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, was not present with Katie Proudfoot at the Texas Roadhouse in Hendersonville, Tennessee on February 25th, 2024. This was the location where Sebastian consumed his last meal and where he was last seen in a verifiable photograph. So it makes me wonder, like, because that's what Seth has said since he got the footage. Because I asked him, was Chris there? Was other people there? Like, no, it was just them. So I'm wondering if some of the clickbait is running around saying, guess what? I just talked to a server and they said Chris was there. And then all of a sudden they get 20,000 views. I don't get it. All right, so here's this right here. This is kind of neat. So this was just 2 hours ago right here. Did my chat freeze again? Oh my gosh. Hold on a minute. I wish YouTube would fix it because I literally can't read StreamYard chat. I literally can't read StreamYard chat, so I have to have my YouTube chat up on my phone, and it keeps freaking freezing. It's all over the place tonight. All right. Public update on the search for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, November 25th, 2024 follow-up. Update on Texas Roadhouse request. We are pleased to announce that thanks to the community's contributions, we have gathered sufficient materials related to Texas Roadhouse and will no longer require additional photos or videos for February 25th, 2024. The materials provided have been reviewed by our licensed investigators and are currently undergoing further analysis. Your engagement has made a meaningful impact, and we are deeply grateful for your assistance in this critical effort. There you go. That's awesome. So the community reached out. This is just literally a couple days ago. We are messaging you. Yeah, I know. The chat, it's freezing. All right. Ow. All right. So I want to get back to this tweet from Nick, and then we're going to get into this little video, and then we're going to get into hour 2. Now, it says the Tennessee counties claiming the cartel hasn't reached their region yet are being naive. Why not just put up a detour sign for them? Now they're attracting attention twice as fast. How could these small town sheriffs be so short-sighted? do they really think they can handle a cartel without federal government assistance? Yikes. Yikes. So, speaking of that, it was kind of interesting because News Nation came out with a video about cartel and trafficking. So that's kind of interesting. Nick comes out with a post a few days ago, and then News Nation comes out with a video today. So check this out.
To a News Nation exclusive, a man deep undercover sitting down with News Nation, working as a confidential informant with federal agencies to rescue women and children being sex trafficked by Mexican cartels. He's revealing how the cartels enslave women and children as young as 8 years old in their brothels, and how he's hunting them, taking down the trafficker.
Isn't it crazy, you guys? It's crazy. Like, the energy just comes together, and it's like, holy crap, like this, and we're talking about it tonight. Holy hell.
He tells me he has freed 200 women and children so far. At great risk, a man going by Sebastian sits down with News Nation. He wants...
Isn't it crazy, you guys? I'm telling you, like, the energy, it's just crazy. Just like the energy from hour one, and we went in with that court TV that we showed you. It's like, man, it all just, the energy, you can feel it. It's that tidal wave. It's that green tidal wave coming. You can feel it coming. It's coming. It's coming. You can feel it. You can smell it in the air. You smell it in the air.
News Nation exclusive. A man deep undercover sitting down with News Nation,
working
as a confidential informant with federal agencies to rescue women and children being sex trafficked by Mexican cartels. He's revealing how the cartels enslave women and children as young as 8 years old in their brothels, and how he's hunting them, taking down the traffickers. He tells me he has freed 200 women and children so far. At great risk, a man going by Sebastian sits down with News Nation. He wants to do this interview to send 2 messages. 1, to the cartels and sex traffickers, he's hunting them. 2, to the women and children they've enslaved and sex trafficked, he's coming. Keep fighting. He says he's helped free more than 200 so far. How young are some of these victims who are being trafficked?
Yeah, you're 12, 16, 14 when they get kidnapped or they're forced into it, but eventually they age and then they always find replacement.
He says it often starts with a family south of the border trying to cross into the U.S. illegally, paying the cartels. These days, he says often $15,000 a person. The cartel looks at these individuals and is selecting for what?
$15,000 a person. $15,000 a person. What is Hendersonville? It's a little ass trusting community that's dark as hell because they ain't got no street lights. Please, gotta come up with some, like, gotta have street lights. Gotta have street lights with all the stuff that goes on there. They barely even have to go out of Nashville, and I really feel like the back door was left unlocked. Even though somebody said they locked it, I really feel like the back door was left unlocked. I really feel like dude was creeping in the backyards, turning each handle, trying to see which one would turn open. What if one of them's playing video games too? Shit, Jimmy, we can make, right? Shit, Jimmy, we could make a quick 15 grand. Let's get our flashlights. Let's go park down the street. Might get a little extra. Might get a little extra for Sebastian too. Was that the reason for the two lights? Was it two people go in and unlocked back door, even, accidentally unlocked back door? One person standing next to Katie in case she wakes up, and the other person's going to snag up Sebastian, and then the other person's making sure that Katie doesn't wake up, and if she does, she's going to have a weapon pointed at her face so she doesn't make any sounds. And then the two flashlights are the people. Oh my gosh, this is crazy, Katrina. Hold on. I got to share something with you. Hold on. Because I know the picture. Oh my gosh, Katrina. Katrina just, the energy, you guys, just wait. I'm going to show you something else. Look at what it's paused on right now. Oh my gosh. Look at what it's paused on right now. Who does that look like in the silhouette? As soon as you sent that screenshot, Katrina, the name in the shadow, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I instantly thought about this picture. I instantly thought about this picture when you mentioned it, Katrina. Thank you. Isn't it crazy, you guys? The energy, right? You can feel it. I can feel it. I told you guys it's coming. Come on. My gosh, I got to start this over. This is a good energy night, everybody.
Trafficked.
Yeah, you're 12, 16, 14 when they get kidnapped or they're forced into it, but eventually they age and then they always find replacement.
He says it often starts with a family south of the border trying to cross into the U.S. illegally, paying the cartels. These days, he says often $15,000 a person. The cartel looks at these individuals and is selecting for what?
If the young lady is pretty, woman or child is attractive, and they feel that they could sell that child or traffic that person or that child in one of their brothels, strip clubs, massage parlors, they'll just outright kidnap that person. And if they are with family members, they will either try to strategically say, well, she's going to go in a separate car. And then when they keep the girl, they'll just tell the family member, you know what? The cops pulled us over, they took her away, immigration has her, and then that's it. They never hear from her. They have to service, men, depending on the day of the week, as little as 5, 10 in one day to as many as 30, 40 in one night.
What the F, yo? Oh my gosh. This is crazy.
40 in one night. None of the girls make any money. Some of them get promised that if they worked off up to a certain amount, they'll eventually be released. Usually $50,000 or $100,000 that they have to make. But that goal line always gets moved.
Do a lot of women die in the course of all of this?
A lot of women die. A lot of women are murdered. For instance, Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, the ladies, they felt that they had served their purpose, and they just took them out to the outskirts of the city and murdered all of them. Then you.
What the F? After they've served their purpose? Like, They just get taken out in the field like they're rabid dogs.
The faces and names of the Johns, which were politicians, police officers, business owners, and obviously the names and faces of their traffickers.
Sebastian knows he's fighting against time. As a confidential informant for federal agencies, he says he is not paid. It does afford him certain protection in the work that he does, and a network of intel and support that has been life-saving. For example, one agency warning him they'd learned he'd been compromised and not to go. As the director of rescue operations at New Hope Foundation International, his work is mostly funded by donations to the nonprofit. These are the methods he can disclose.
Once they trust you, they start offering you girls.
He befriends the traffickers and poses as a John. The challenge is reaching these women and never touching them without raising suspicion. One playbook he can disclose, gifting the women or children a cell phone.
That they say, oh, I like your phone. Oh, yeah, it's cool. I'm going to get another one. Would you like to keep this one after I get the new one? And they say, yeah, it's a $400, $600 phone, and they'll get it for free. Little do they know that coordinated efforts with the government, that phone has tools in there to monitor everything.
That cell phone is often what cracks the case wide open, giving the government what it needs to bust the sex ring. News Nation spoke with former federal agent and director of the Human Trafficking Response Unit at the Office of the Oklahoma Attorney General, Kevin Metcalf.
He has, however, the trust, the resources, and the network to do things we can't. So when we tell him for example, there's a 13-year-old girl and we don't know if we can keep her safe, he can reach out and make sure that happens. So even for government officials, we struggle to do things like that.
Leon Worthen is former director of operations at Naval Special Warfare. He says he's worked 12 cases with Sebastian, using him in reconnaissance.
He is definitely the real deal. He has the ability and the fearlessness and the courage and the bravery to put himself in harm's way when it comes to rescuing a victim of trafficking or abuse. And every single time, the results are amazing.
What keeps him going is one child in particular, the little boy he was decades ago when no one came to save him.
When I was a child, I was sexually assaulted multiple times on 2 different occasions. And at that time, nothing was done to help me. It's hard to speak out. So I know that those kids find it hard to speak out once they fall in that trap.
And although Sebastian more commonly sees survivors trafficked starting at 12 years old, he says his group has helped parents who've had their little girls taken by the cartel as young as 8 or 9 years old for the purposes of sex trafficking. Right after our interview, Sebastian went back to a sting that is underway right now.
Sometimes 40 a night. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's hard. That's hard. My Lord. As young as 8. It's a sick world, man. All right. So I wanted to share that with you guys, since Nick brought it up. I don't know. I'm not around there that much, so I don't know. But who knows? I don't know. Maybe it blends in. I don't know. But you look at the whole country. Lake and Hope Riley, the trial just got over. You know what I'm saying? Like it exists all over. It really does. They use teenagers to help them groom and recruit victims in school. My gosh. Let me see here. I want to say contribution call out Sunday. Hold on one second. I want to say contribution call out to you. $30 Cash App. Thank you so much for the contribution. Let me throw this up there for you too. That was from I seen that after the last show that we did, so I want to say thank you for your contribution as well. Could you share the guy they busted? And yeah, here. Yeah, let me pull it up. Sick effer. Where's the other one? There it is. Wait. Hold on. It's got to be this one. Yeah, here it is. Okay, hold on. I got to because now that I have more photos in there, it renamed them. Or different photos are in between them. Hold on. Let's see. And then this one, rename. That way they're next to each other. All right. So this is over 50. I think it was over 50. Hold on. Yeah, 50 crimes. Here's this right here. So this was from, I think, last week. But yeah, 50 child crimes. Police in Hendersonville and in Gallatin. 59-year-old Daniel Charles Harris. Look at all this stuff right here. I'm not going to say it. You can read it. It's horrific. Look at that. Over. From an investigation that began October 2nd. And it makes me wonder. Because, when you're looking into these investigations, especially when it comes to trafficking and stuff, that was the first group that Dog and his team reached out for any groups that specialized in that to reach out to him. That was right when they first showed up on the scene. You can go back and look. They were reaching out, trying to see if any organizations or groups that specialize in that to reach out to him. Now it's kind of interesting, October 2nd, an investigation popped up on this guy, right? On October 2nd. They go after the small fish to get the big fish. This guy right here, this is a small fish. Compared to all the, you just heard on the video what these sick heifers are capable of. This is the guy right here. Did all this shit. Ridiculous. So that's him. But October 2nd. Think about it. Nick and Dog come here. 4 months ago. Hey, if there's any groups that specialize in this kind, come on, you got like FBI. FBI's got to be TBI. They got to be getting into it. Come on, this is what they do. This is what they do. So hopefully this guy starts, you know. So hopefully that helps, Matt. All right, let me see here. Let's get into what's this? Hold on. Oh, yeah. Here's the link. Thank you, Busby. Unless, let me see, I don't know. You might have dropped it already. If you did, I apologize. Here's the link to the article, you guys. Thank you. So you guys can read it yourself. All right, we're going to get into hour 2. Now, we're going to have some other episodes coming up because I was already wanting to go over the Seth and Tony conversation on the lab from like a month or 2 ago. And then Vinny also had a panel on with some guests that said a lot of interesting things in his episode of the Tangent podcast titled Sebastian Rogers Didn't Just Disappear. We're going to go into those in some upcoming shows. Also, I would like to have a show where we go over the dispatch, the flashlights. There was something else. I apologize. I can't remember. I wrote it down somewhere. But like a group of everything together where we kind of just flashlights, the direction, what we may think, you mix it with the dispatch. That's one thing I haven't really got to dig into is the whole dispatch. I haven't been able to do that, but there's that link for you. We're going to get into hour 2. Thank you all for being here. Let me switch this real quick. So the 2 things that were shocking to me in hour 1, they ripped the sheets off his bed and flipped it over like he was a fugitive. I don't get that part.
Especially,
I saw them trusting them more than them trusting me.
Right.
Even though my shit's verified, and I apologize because I know that I have used some foul language, and I know a lot of Sebastian's army doesn't appreciate it, but I'm trying.
You're doing fine. So do you know, because I've seen the neighborhood. It's an upscale neighborhood with very nice homes. Typically, I know, people say, well, never judge a book by its cover, and stereotypes and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's how law enforcement approaches stuff or not, but it's a nice neighborhood, and I think that maybe they think, that kind of stuff, kidnappings and stuff don't always happen in those kind of neighborhoods. And
Bear with me 1 moment. I'll be right back.
Yeah. And so maybe, I don't know. I mean, it does seem like the 2 were getting treated much different, Tony. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it just kind of seems like to me, I mean, and again, you know more about this, and I'm asking a lot of these questions. I want Seth to be able to tell his story, but I also want to know because, since you and I first met, I've not been one that wanted to understand all of the investigative pieces. But, as this goes on longer, it seems to be more necessary to understand what happened those first, few days, few weeks, etc. And you know, I'm a guy that's watched Netflix and watched true crime documentaries and followed a couple of cases, you know, before this one. One I was involved in, and then two other were national cases. And I mean, they seem to be very critical always of the last person seen with, you know, with the victim.
Right. And the spouse. And Tony makes a great point. And it's true. When we listen to the first hour, it's like, whoa, this is nuts. This is worse than I ever thought. Worse than I ever thought. And it's true. They usually go after they put the pressure on who they were seen with last.
Yeah, but the one thing that is buffering this investigation
What's up,
from
Lori?
the jump is we have an autistic child who ran away. And if that's what Katie's telling them, that is what they're going with at the moment. I mean, and you know, earlier when I said that law enforcement isn't always well equipped, you know, small town, and people are saying that's not an excuse. I'm not saying that it's an excuse. I'm saying it's the reason. I'm not making.
Yeah, it's an experience. Just like with the Idaho 4 case, inexperience. You have people showing up to Idaho 4, 1122 King Road. Officers showing up. One of the lead officers, old as shit, showing up, been around long enough, pulling up, saying as soon as I pulled up, I knew we wouldn't be able to handle the scene, so I had to call in Idaho State Police. Well, how many people were out there, bro? You're telling me one officer can't have 10 students grouped up together and talking to them? Inexperience. That's it. Because they're not around it. You can only really truly train on some things that you literally have to go through. Thank you, Jackie.
Making an excuse for them. I understand that it's not an excuse, but that doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Right.
And so this whole thing has been kind of hampered from day one. If Sebastian was not a runaway, all this time has been lost.
Right.
To
on that philosophy.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so,
well, and you know, let's just say that they took what KP said at face value. You know, the kid ran away. I mean, Seth's there early. He's talking about there's no shoes missing. Okay. So maybe at that point, in my mind, there'd be a red flag that goes up. But while they're investigating her theory that he ran away, with as many people running in and out of that house as there was, you'd think there'd be somebody drilling down on her story, you know, her timeline.
Right. Did you accidentally leave the door unlocked? The more times you repeat a story or you tell a story, that's when you find out the inconsistencies. Yes, I know. I've been covering the case from the beginning. I know that she said the door was unlocked. Well, maybe she accidentally left it unlocked. I mean, I'm saying she said the door was locked. I'm saying, who's to say it wasn't accidentally unlocked? A predator was tapping door handles. Or they weren't being, they weren't being scoped out. 2 lights. 2 people taking him. one person making sure if she wakes up, she don't make a sound.
Well, look, I've a 15-year-old boy in his home, in his room, being kidnapped out of there. Kidnapped is a high risk maneuver.
Low probability.
It's just one of those things where you go, I don't like an intruder, meaning like somebody coming inside a house that's locked or allegedly locked.
Right.
It is you don't really go, well, yeah, that's a really solid theory we got there. I mean, I could see why they would think that he was a runaway, especially when the mother is telling them that. But I mean, I saw in her interview, I guess it was 9 days after that, she was very adamant saying that he wasn't a runner.
There has been, not to interrupt, Josh.
No, not at all.
I'm going to let you all know that no matter what TBI says, Agent Simmons literally told me, Chris, and Katie not to do any interviews.
Give you a reason why?
Nope. Chris called me up at one point in time, was like, hey, we're going to do an interview. Do you want to join us? And
well, it is true because we've listened to, I apologize, I'm loopy tired from the drive and no sleep. I can't remember the name. But there, who was it? Remember we watched an episode with Jennifer Coffindaffer, and she had that guy with the red reading glasses on. I can't remember his name, but he said the legal aspect of it, and he said, yeah, I would tell all of them because they were talking about the Sebastian Rogers case. Does anybody remember? Jennifer Coffindaffer, the guy was wearing like red frame reading glasses, and they were discussing it. I wish I could remember. They were discussing it, and he was like, yeah. I would tell all of them, no interviews, don't talk to authorities, yes, but not to the the public or whatever.
My response to that was, did Agent Simmons say that we could do interviews now? Because I mean, I'd been turning down interviews.
Yeah, so he says Agent Simmons told him not to.
A house that's locked or allegedly locked.
Right.
It is you don't really go, well, yeah, that's a really solid theory we got there. I mean, I could see why they would think that he was a runaway, especially when the mother is telling them that. But I mean, I saw in her interview, I guess it was 9 days after that, she was very adamant saying that he wasn't a runner.
There has been, not to interrupt, Josh.
No, not at all.
I'm going to let you all know that no matter what TBI says, Agent Simmons literally told me, Chris, and Katie not to do any interviews.
Give you a reason why?
Nope. Chris called me up at one point in time, was like, hey, we're going to do an interview. Do you want to join us? And my response to that was, did Agent Simmons say that we could do interviews now? Because I mean, I'd been turning down interviews because I was told not to. And then I turned around when he said he was going to do an interview. I turned around and called Agent Simmons and said, hey, are we allowed to do an interview now? And he was like, well, we never really told you couldn't. I was like, you said not to do any interviews. You said not to talk to the press.
Well, I mean, I guess they can advise you of that, but I don't. It's weird that I don't unless they have some lead that they're working that they don't want to, blow.
Well, the lead that I think that they would have had at this point in time, that before that would have been a particular video that's going around.
The lights.
Yeah.
The flashlight video.
Right. Well, yeah, that was interesting too, because that thing got leaked, and
that got leaked by a particular I hate to say human, but person, individual, the day after the vigil I held at Sebastian School. The first vigil that I held at Beach High School.
So they tell them, they advise you guys not to go to the press, not to do interviews, right?
Correct.
And they also, according to CP and KP, advised you guys not to search, right?
Yeah, I told them that they could shove it where the sun don't shine, and I told them that on day one. Like, you're not going to have me sitting in a house waiting for you to go do your job. This is my son. I'm a body. I'm a human person, and I know my son. So why wouldn't I be out there looking for my son? I even asked them, do you guys have a bullhorn, so that they will hear, that he'll hear me, because I'm screaming. I lost my voice.
I'd be doing the same thing. Shit. I only got 2-3 hours of sleep searching for Sebastian. Imagine searching for my own. I ain't getting no damn sleep. You can't tell me not to search. I'm searching.
On day 5, I couldn't even speak anymore. So all I'm doing is driving around looking. I lost my voice from screaming for the last, 4 or 5 days. And the weather was extremely cold by then. The first night, it wasn't that bad. I think it got down to like 55, 60, 55 degrees that night. But when Wednesday came around, we had below freezing weather. I'm sitting here. I searched until 11:30 that night, because all I can think of is my son was out there, and it's freezing weather, and he's got no clothes, he's got no coat, he's got no shoes. I don't know where he's at. And this is the weather that will kill a person. And it really gets to me, because as soon as it starts to get dark, they stop searching. And it's like, you need to continue to search, because he's still out there somewhere.
Did they bring thermal imaging drones in for after dark? Because that's obviously when it's highly effective, especially when the temperature drops.
They did bring those in the first week. They had EquaSearch out there with their drones, and they had a special type of program that they were running so that they could get below the foliage and stuff, because you had a lot of dead leaves and stuff on the ground.
I find it a little bit odd. And again, I mean, I'm just dissecting behaviors, but I'm a father of a 15-year-old child. And, if my child goes missing and I have the mother who's an ex, if they're going to tell us two things, if they're going to tell us that they don't really want us searching and they don't really want us doing interviews, the rule that we would both break would be the searching part. We would say, hey, we understand that, you know, you don't want us in front of a camera because we're a basket case right now. But I'm sorry, we can't abide by the searching rule because we're going searching. I mean, if you could have 10,000 people out here and it's not enough for us. So, you know, we can't honor that. I mean, am I off base there, Josh?
No, I mean, I'm a father of two, and it would, I mean, you would, without being dramatic, you would have to arrest me.
Right.
I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I would feel. I would say, I'm going to search you, you're going to arrest me.
But it would be easier to stay off of camera than it would be to keep from searching, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Like he said, like I'm gonna be a mess, but I'm not gonna not search. Hell yeah, I'm gonna be out there like crazy. Shoot.
I mean, because you're not accustomed to being in front of a camera anyway, and nobody's looking for attention at that point. You know, the media is doing their thing out there. I mean, they don't need you involved. I mean, it'd be a whole lot easier to stay out in front of a camera, me as a parent, than it would to not search.
I mean, it would feel like you're dying a slow death.
Right.
Still dying.
I understand.
So, Seth, back to the phone thing. There's been a couple questions, and explain. You went into great detail with me. I asked you, I said, tell me about the phones. They took a phone, they didn't take a phone. You had a phone, one phone was turned on, one phone was not turned on.
I have a phone that has active service. I had another phone because when I switched companies, the phone that I had, the company that I switched to, it wouldn't operate on their system. So I had to buy a new phone. So I bought a new phone. Well, I keep my old phone because obviously it's still a good phone and I have Wi-Fi hooked up to it. So, you know, I can watch YouTube or listen to music on it or anything else and not be, you know, if a phone call comes in, my stuff's not interrupted. And when I have Sebastian here, I'll be listening to stories like creepy pastas and stuff like that. And me and Sebastian listen to that sort of stuff while we're cooking dinner or whatnot. You know, I don't like to be interrupted from watching something because the phone rings.
Right. Well, and so essentially what you had is you had one phone that you could connect to the internet, and you had another phone that had cell service, correct?
Yes.
And I know how you go to sleep. How do you go to sleep?
I put on a creepy pasta and I lay in bed until I pass out.
So you're basically listening to an audio story, and that helps put you to sleep.
Correct.
Okay. So for anyone that thought that he had a phone that wasn't taken that had any significance, there's the answer.
They took that phone though too.
Oh, so they took them both?
Yeah. I mean, they asked for that one. And the next day when I went down there, I took the phone and handed it to them. And they kept that one until I got both PlayStations back. They gave me that phone back, and they still have his tablet. They still have his Switch. I mean, they took when they took his Switch, they took his charging stand, okay, that was connected to the TV for his Switch, and they took his games. Like, why'd you take his games?
Huh.
I don't understand that.
Huh.
Right.
He doesn't have access.
Maybe they're using it could be one of these things. Maybe they're using the games to see. Maybe they're using the games to see who maybe was messaging back and forth. Not that if somebody committed the crime, if he's next to them, they're not going to message him on on a video game or something. But the only reason I would think that they would take the games is because it's the console. They can hook it up to the TV, and maybe they have somebody that is actively using it to see if somebody reaches out or something. I mean, that's the only reason I could think that they would take the games, because games, you can't do nothing with them unless you're trying to load the game and access whatever the game can create or make available for you. I can see that.
Says to go online with his Switch. He does not have a Nintendo account. I did not buy him a Nintendo account. I bought him a Switch so he could play his video games while we're doing road trips. Why, if I'm sitting here watching something on the PlayStation, he can sit there in his recliner, and if he wants to watch, he can. If he wants to play video games on his Switch, he can.
Right.
I didn't buy him the Switch for him to be online.
So when
Agent Simmons literally told me he spent 4 hours on Sebastian's Switch trying to get connection to the internet to get online, and he was like, I can't. There's no way. And I was like, I know, I told you this. Unless you have a Nintendo account, there's no access to the internet. You can connect Wi-Fi to it. All that does is update your games. That's it. There's no way to chat. There's no way to talk. There's nothing without a Nintendo account.
So, Seth, there was a point on the 26th, the day of the 26th. There was a point that you were at the house when all of the family members were there, correct?
Yeah.
By all of the family members, we're talking CP, KP, TB, and CB, correct? Right. They were all four there.
Yeah.
I know one of the things that got you really riled up is a conversation that they were having when you were at the house. Can you tell everybody about that?
It was day 2.
Was that day 2? Okay. But they were all there day 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Just those 4.
No, Lori Kalinakis was there too. Actually, that's her married name. But okay. Yeah, Lori was there too.
Okay. So day 2, so you had those 4 there, and then you had a family friend. Friend of theirs.
They had a family friend.
Okay. So then day 2, all 4 of those are there. At this point, you've got the pit in your stomach. You're losing your mind because it's real. And you've talked over and over again about a conversation that happened with CP, KP, and Mama and Daddy Bowersox. So how did that go?
It wasn't a conversation on where Sebastian could be. It wasn't a conversation on what he could be going through. It was a conversation about what Chris's mom's, what jewelry she wanted.
Can you imagine? You show up, and your ex and spouse's family are sitting there. He just went missing. And when he gets there, it's not a conversation about Sebastian. I'm sorry, even if it's a friend of mine, and I'm talking about jewelry with my family, and a friend of mine comes to my door, I'm done talking about the effing jewelry. I'm talking about their missing child. Like, I could be mid sentence. Yeah, I seen this. It had the shape like that. Hey, is everything going okay? Like, is there anything we can do to? You stop mid sentence. Can you imagine what it felt like?
It wasn't a conversation on where Sebastian could be. It wasn't a conversation on what he could be going through. It was a conversation about what Chris's mom's, what jewelry she wanted. What jewelry she wanted Chris to buy her on their next vacation trip. That's what they were talking about. Not a care in the world about Sebastian being missing or gone.
So was there any of them that were frantic
No,
by day 2?
no.
Not frantic. He just
And
went
just to
missing.
be fair, was it that they had a huge amount of confidence that he was just going to come home, so there's no reason to worry, or was
What the hell? He's missing.
it different than that?
Indifference.
And it's the second day.
Could
Josh,
stay in the house.
Josh, what else you got, buddy?
I don't. So, and they knew that. I mean, you were sitting right there, and they were openly having that conversation.
Yeah. At which point in time, I got up and went back to my truck and went looking for my son again.
I would too.
Because if Sumner County's not going to look for him, I got to.
Right. I'm not worried about your fucking jewelry. I'm worried about my kid. I wouldn't have stuck around either. You got it twisted.
If none of that family's going to actually do something, I got to.
You got shit twisted.
It's like I'm the only family that is looking for him.
Right?
I'm the only parent that's looking for him.
Hey, our family's been out there looking since March. Our family has been looking too. And shout out to all you. I appreciate y'all.
And to this day, it still feels like I'm the only parent looking for their lost child.
I don't think you're going to get any argument from Josh or I or the majority of the people in the chat on that one.
It's not even a debate.
Well, you know, I don't know what Chris and Katie are doing. I hope that they're working closely with law enforcement. You know, I don't know, but I do know what you're doing, and I respect it, and I think that you're doing the same thing, exactly the same way that I would. I you know, when it comes to this kind of stuff, when you're going day by day, each day is different and unique, and you feel you know.
No, it's not.
You just feel like you feel like it's a rat, like it's like a hamster wheel.
It's not even a day. I mean, it feels like yesterday, but it feels at some points in time, it feels, I mean, it's still fresh and it will always be fresh. But at the same point in time, it's just a nightmare that you can't wake up from. And when you do wake up, you just realize that you're still stuck in this nightmare.
Are some days you more hopeful than others?
There are days that I don't want to pull myself out of that bed. I'm tired, but it's not even, tired is not even a word. You know, there's, Pink Floyd said it best, comfortably numb. Just where I'm just numb. It's like, I don't even, you know, I don't know what the next person's going to say to me is. I mean, it takes a lot to even surprise me. But I never fails. Someone's going to surprise me with what comes out of their mouth. And it's just like, wow. Okay.
So we want to try very hard, especially since it's Friday night. We want to try to keep this to a couple of hours. So what we're going to do is we're going to, the next couple of lives that we do, we're going to pick up, you know, on day 3 and continue moving forward. But I've got the question. You're pretty close to being 100% confident that when you showed up at 8:30 that morning, there around 8:30, you're almost 100% confident that Kathy was there, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Did she greet you when you walked in? Did she just there hanging out, looking through jewelry catalogs? What was she doing?
She was just there. There was no greeting.
Wow. Didn't even come up and say sorry. If it's a damn stranger and they're talking and I know that their child's missing, I'm going to go up to them and tell them I'm sorry. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
There was no, hey, are you okay?
Wow.
How are you? You know,
Wow.
None of them actually have emotion that
Wow.
doesn't revolve around what they want in life.
So we can take some questions at the end, a few questions, and Josh, if you would be looking at those for us. Let's fast forward to the last press conference of any kind from Sumner County was in April, correct?
Yeah. Believe that was Sumner County and TBI did a press conference where they couldn't even put my son's picture up. They couldn't even do a press conference about Sebastian with a picture of my son who was missing to remind the people who were watching that this was the child.
Oh, wow.
This is what the child looks like that is missing.
I didn't even notice
This
that.
is why we're here. And, you know,
Wow.
what came out of their mouth was pretty much one of the last few nails in the coffin. I had search parties going. I had people being followed, and I don't like people being threatened who are trying to help find my son. But I told people to keep an eye out. If you can get a license plate number, get that, make, model, color of the vehicle, and I would submit that and give that stuff to Sumner County and TBI. And I had several people give me information, make some models of vehicles. I had some of them that got license plate numbers, and I passed that stuff on to Sumner County and I passed it on to TBI. But when they held that press conference and said that nobody was being threatened or anything else, I lost it. I lost it. It was like,
See what I'm saying? Sus. Man. Like I said, the shocking truth of everything we thought we knew. But man, what a revealing conversation. Shout out to Seth, Josh, and Tony.
you guys are hiding information from the public right here. You know, I've given you guys information, makes and models of these vehicles, license plate numbers, and you're going to come out and tell people that people haven't been being threatened. I've been followed. I've been threatened, you know, and you guys are just going to sit there and act like it never happened. You're acting just like somebody else is acting. Like my son is, hiding at my house or something. Like he's not missing.
So just for the audience that uses the two phrases press conference and press release,
or go in, rip the sheets off, flip the mattress over like he's a fugitive
interchangeably, they're not the same. A press conference is an actual in-person conference. Those of you that followed the Idaho 4 case would remember that they were constantly doing press conferences. They would come out, the detective would talk, the sheriff would talk.
Shoot, they didn't have a press conference for 3 effing days. 3 effing days they didn't have a press conference for Idaho 4. 3 days that community was out there going, what are we supposed to do? 3 days.
The chief would talk. So we had one of those in April. Since then,
Tony, you had to fill out permission to even be there. The news media had to fill out permission, and they made sure that they held that literally in a fenced-in area where they do training, so that nobody could get in there.
Wow.
So they didn't address
person. Yeah, no, the only person they let in there was Nick Barris.
Whoa.
That was it.
Whoa.
Yeah, so then since then we've had these press releases, which
the only person they let in was Nick Barris. Good night, Kid Kitty. The only person they let in was Nick Barris? What the hell? What the hell?
I've been followed. I've been threatened.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy that put out the video.
And you guys are just going to sit there and act like it never happened. You're acting just like somebody else is acting.
Not the
like
father.
My son is, hiding at my house or something. Like he's not missing.
Just the news guy.
So just for the audience that uses the two phrases press conference and press release interchangeably.
That's crazy.
They're not the same. A press conference is an actual in-person conference.
What does Nick, you know what I'm asking myself right now? What does Nick have on law enforcement? That's what I'm asking myself. What? Because Nick Barris, he's an investigator, right? Come on, think about it. What information did he come across? What information does he have to get access like that? They put it in an area where you need permission. You have to have permission to even get to be there. And they give it to Nick.
Those of you that followed the Idaho 4 case would remember that they were constantly doing press conferences. They would come out, the detective would talk, the sheriff would talk, the chief would talk. So we had one of those in April. Since then,
Tony, you had to fill out permission to even be there. The news media had to fill out permission, and they made sure that they held that literally in a fenced-in area where they do training, so that nobody could get in there. So they didn't address person. Yeah, no, the only person they let in there was Nick Barris.
That's effing crazy. What does he have on law enforcement? We got something.
Yeah, so then since then we've had these press releases, which what they do is
he's the only one that gets let in. All of a sudden he's the one that releases the tape. What the hell, man?
They pick a favorite news guy. We all know who that is. And they lay a little bit of information out there, or they lecture somebody and they let him put it out there on his social media, which I guess is their version of a press release. There's been no more press conferences of any kind, whether they're open to the public or not since then. What has your communication been like with them since, let's say, April?
Communication was pretty much sporadic. Every time that I got a lead or something, I would pass that to both TBI and Sumner County. And I would get like the detective would never pick up the phone when I call. And he was like, well, I prefer text messages because then there's a copy and a record. And I'm like, okay, well. So I have all these text messages between me and him. And they're pretty, they're text messages. There's no emotion behind text messages. But you kind of get this feeling of, they're not telling me anything. The last time I spoke to them in person, they were like, well, we're playing the what if game. Like, what if you did pay somebody to kidnap?
Whoa. Man, you respect not doing any interviews. You're trying to do, you're just out there searching the what if game. Wow.
But you kind of get this feeling of,
wow,
they're not telling me anything. The last time I spoke to them in person, they were like, well, we're playing the what if game. Like, what if you did pay somebody to kidnap your son? And I'm like, well, last time I checked, I haven't fucking won the lottery.
Wow.
All right. And I live paycheck to paycheck to pay my bills.
That seems like it would be a pretty, first of all, it's just crazy. But second of all, they're, yeah, it's stupid.
I mean, you're kind of reaching here. I don't have money. I do live paycheck to paycheck. I do save up what little I can.
One of the questions, and I know this is a bit of speculation, but it's something that's been asked repeatedly in the chat. Never something that I've discussed, but I'm sure that you've heard of it. People were wondering if you noticed any bite marks on Chris's arm.
Yeah. I saw the wounds on his arms. After I wasn't there during that. When he was there, I did not see them.
You didn't see them while you were in the house, but you saw photos after.
I did.
Okay.
Huh.
Most of the time, I want to say that he was wearing long sleeve shirts, but I wasn't paying attention to him. I took him at his word, which I've taken a lot of people at their word since this happened, and a lot of times it has just bit me in the rear end.
Huh.
Right. Sure.
So there was a time, Seth, where clearly
So he don't remember it because he was wearing long sleeves, but then he remembers seeing the the local TV station interviewed him, and the blue this right here. This photo. This photo. It's almost like before he even got there, because it took him an hour to get there because of traffic. It's almost like before he got there, somebody, like I said a couple days ago, like, hey, let me tell you something about this guy. And it's almost like, hey, let me tell you something about this guy. This guy was trying to get awarded full custody, and she's not having it. And we think he might have paid somebody to kidnap him since he wasn't going to get custody. Oh, really? So this is what I have to ask now, right? Now that we're hearing all this stuff, we're hearing how deer blinders are equipped, right? We're hearing the deer blinders have been equipped from the beginning. Now, this is what I have to ask, and this is why it's kind of a two-parter. It's kind of a two-parter. I first have to ask, how effective, listen, if you think that he had something to do with it from the beginning, how effective is that search through that neighborhood? Right? If you really don't think he ran away, but you gotta make it look like right? You're not gonna go. You see what I'm trying to say? You're not gonna go all out if you already think that there was foul play when it comes to the dad, because when it this is what I don't understand. Why is it, well, this isn't foul play, no signs of foul play? Well, isn't somebody being kidnapped foul play? Isn't paying somebody to kidnap foul play? I think it's foul play, don't you? My next question, when it comes to, if we're really, playing what ifs from the beginning, I had to ask, how effective was that search in the neighborhood when it comes to the dispatch? So when we go into the dispatch, it's going to have a whole new meaning. When I'm listening to that dispatch now, it's going to have a whole new meaning. And this is why my breakdown part 4 is so amazing, is so important, because if the search wasn't effective in the neighborhood, how effective was this drone search in these pipes? This manhole theory is even more important tonight, because what it's telling me is that they were focused from the very beginning on one individual, only one individual, and it happening a certain way. I think the drone, how long were you operating that drone in those pipes? How far did you go in those pipes? Did you just put it down for a few minutes? Bring it back up? I mean, when you got neighbors walking around canines, How effective is that? Talk to any canine handler and ask them how effective it is when they have a bunch of people walking all over the place, the same places that those canines are supposed to be trying to find the scent. So when we're listening to this, and you're hearing the story, I don't. I can't wait to get into this dispatch. Because I really just, I don't. I think 50% effort was given. Makes me wonder if the dog that was even jumping in the pond was even jumping in the pond. For anybody's scent. Who knows? Who says it was Sebastian? Who says it was Sebastian? Make it look good, right? PR. Make it look good.
They lost interest in talking to you. I think that's fair, correct?
Oh, yeah. The last time that I had communication with them was the day that that Dwayne Chapman came home too.
So let's talk about that. So I was talking to you on the phone one day and you said, "Oh, guess who I just heard from?" And were they just overexcited and filled with joy that somebody was going to get involved and help with the search and bring national publicity to the case? What did that look like?
The text message was something along the lines of, "Wow, really? Why did you do this?"
So
they were so not happy.
And we decided that you weren't going to respond to that, correct?
Well, by the time that I got home, because they texted that to me, by the time I got home, they had already followed up with another one 2 hours later. Well, I wouldn't answer that either. At which point in time, I did respond to them and told them they could contact me by phone. I'll always pick up and I will always have a conversation with them.
So when we got the call from Nick and his team, we had conversation with our inner circle as to whether or not that we felt like it would be a good idea for me to reach out to them, find out what they were about, and we were kind of split on that, right?
We didn't know if it was a hoax or not.
Right. And you were, one of us was I'm not in favor. One of us I was certainly in favor. You were somewhere in the middle, as if they can help find my son, I'm open to listening, kind of thing, right?
Correct. I mean, I have always accepted help in finding my son, because that's my only goal, is to find my son, and that has gotten me in trouble.
So
on this route, and
well, look, this is the way that I look at it. It's your job and it's your duty the rest of your life to look for your son, and I know that you know that, and I think that that's how 99% of parents feel. Their job's not over, you know. If you're
found and brought home.
Yes, correct.
So
that is your That's your responsibility. I mean, it just is. He's your responsibility. You know that. I'm not scolding you. I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. And I believe that you are looking for your son. And like you said, it's not over until he's home, until he's found.
So, Josh, you may not even know this, and I know a lot of the folks in the audience, and again, we can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys' support. There's a lot of people in here tonight.
Yeah.
So I told Seth, I said, you trust me, right? And he said, yes, I do. And I said, just, let me call this Nick character and find out what he's about.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So, Josh, I call Nick, left him a message. Then I get a call back. And of course, what we know now, I got a call back because I was being recorded, right? Which I've never had a problem with. I've never recorded a call, but I've been recorded. And so I call, I answer the phone. I get on the phone with those guys. And first thing that happens is Dog jumps in. He's on the phone. And he jumps in and he takes over the conversation. And he basically tells me that the word on the street is that my guy is potentially the lead suspect, and that that I could be considered an accomplice, and that am I willing to go to prison for my guy? And I said, absolutely. If you can prove that my guy's that, and you think I'm an accomplice because I'm a volunteer spokesperson, then I'm not really sure how that would work, but sure, I'll play along with your silly game. And so he went as far as to read me my Miranda rights.
Who was that? Who did this?
Dog.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So, now I've got a guy that I grew up watching, right? And he's reading me my rights. Like, I'm getting ready to go to jail for harboring a fugitive, right?
Yeah.
And, so again, I played along, and then he goes into talking to me about the famous, the truth serum, the hypnosis, all these things. And would I talk to my guy and find out if my guy would be willing to do this or that or whatever? And I didn't realize, but that was all just a game to find out, are we hiding anything? How convicted are we? How much do we know for sure that Seth is innocent? And what are we willing to do to help us find Sebastian? And I told Dog, I said, Dog, Seth Rogers would cut his arms off to find his son. I said, if you think that putting truth serum is going to scare him away, if you think that hypnosis is going to scare him away, I said, as long as I was there while it was going on, he'll do anything in the world to find his son. Well, an hour and a half later, as we got into the real facts of the case, it became obvious that, that they knew that Seth was not involved. But I think they needed to know wholeheartedly that we were committed to doing whatever it took to support them. And fast forward now, we've had a lot of conversations, you and I, Josh, have had about the good they've brought. And I don't know if you saw, but that reward has been bumped up to 200,000 as of today.
I heard something about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And which I think is fantastic, but it kind of begs the question, we went from 50 to 100,000 and 125 and 150, 175, 200. It's like we're at a reward auction. Does it not feel like that if there's anybody out there that wasn't on the inside, that something would be happening?
I mean, that's kind of the that's the problem with rewards,
right?
Typically, when you have the information to hand over, you got your foot in the pile of crap,
Right. Right.
At least partially. And unless, I mean, if you read the FBI poster, it says, for the, I believe it's the location and the return and prosecution of the parties, which are three enormous steps. And you'd have to be relatively close to somebody to know that kind of information. It rarely happens. It rarely happens.
Right. So Seth, we were talking about how Dog got involved in that initial phone conversation I had with him, where they told me they were going to arrest me and drag me away for being your friend. So fast forward to now, we had a big day today. Reward goes up to $200,000. What has it been like in your mind working with Dog and Nick and their team, as far as how aggressive do you feel like they pursue leads as they come in? Because we're getting a lot of them, right?
A lot of leads. They pursue them. I mean, his name is Dog for a reason. I have communication with him. Nick is always calling me to let me know what's going on. I just wish Sumner County would have been communicating with me like Nick and Dog's team does.
And do you feel like that? I mean, the professional on our team is RPI, correct?
Correct.
And RPI always had a strong desire to work in conjunction with Sumner County, right?
They still do.
And it's never really happened, correct?
It hasn't.
But our PI, in your mind, has got a very solid working relationship with Nick and Dog and their team and all their resources, correct?
They do.
So you got to see the horsepower behind the machine, I guess Dog's machine, if you want to call it that, what that looked like working in conjunction with our PI this last week. And without getting, I mean, I know it's out there, but how did you feel about seeing all that real time, being on the phone while it was going on and watching it? Did it give you some hope?
Yes. I mean, I always have hope that my son is out there. He's lost. He's going to be found. But again, it just bolsters the hope that there's other people with the means to do it that are willing to do it. They're not willing just to say it. They put their money where their mouth is,
And you've got an open line of communication to Dog, correct?
Yes, I do.
So
he called me during the last vigil.
So
That's how I was doing.
Tell us about that phone conversation.
He just wanted to make sure I was doing okay. He wanted to know if I needed anything. He wanted to let me know where he was at, what he was doing.
Kind of a father-to-father talk, right?
Yes, sir.
Dog lost a child. You're missing your child. That kind of thing.
Yes.
Every time I hear Dog, I hear him saying "Baby Lisa."
Yeah.
From watching his show, I used to watch his show all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was rough stuff.
And I mean, we all know that the 71-year-old Dog is got to flex his muscles a different way, right? I mean, he's not running out there necessarily kicking doors in anymore, but I mean, it's Dog is still Dog, to your point, huh, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that he still does but when I used to watch his show, I mean, they were very, very aggressive bounty hunters. And a lot of that, I mean, most of their bounties were off camera, I mean, they had just so many, and it sounds like they were the same exact way off camera, but they very, very aggressive in their approach. And, they were very good at tracking down their they're
very high success.
Yeah.
So, Seth, we're getting close to a couple hours. Josh, do you have some questions that we can answer before we call it a night?
One thing real quick before you continue, Josh.
Sure.
I gave Sumner County Chris's information, and from this all the way up to today, they have not reached out. So when you're talking about a small county not having the resources, there's been organizations, including Chris's, that has offered their assistance to help them, and they refuse to accept help.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's pride or ego, none of those two matter when it comes to a missing child.
I've only seen it in one other case where that level of help was offered and rejected. Both of them in Tennessee.
Summer Wells.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just,
Yep.
I will never stop screaming my son's name.
Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy?
I don't understand how a parent can stop screaming their child's name when they are missing.
When Michael Vaughn went missing out of Fruitland, Idaho, and I interviewed the mother, Brandy Neal. By the way, and I'll just say this in front of everybody, that district attorney is sitting on a mound of evidence and promising to prosecute, and still hasn't.
Interesting.
And has a lot. Law enforcement has done a bang up job. I know that they have not found him, young Michael Vaughn, but the district attorney has a case and he needs to put it into motion. Now, when Fruitland, who, by the way, did not have a lot of experience in these kinds of cases as well, the police chief could not believe that there was an organization willing to do this. And that organization advanced that case all the way to the district attorney with evidence, and even, I don't want to say everything that they have, because first of all, I don't know everything that they have. I know that they have a lot. And it made a huge difference. And for them to sit on a case because they want to find a body is just not proper anymore. You don't get rewarded for being able to hide a body. That's why they have body prosecutions. DAs get scared of that stuff sometimes, especially ones up for re-election.
So I've got two questions. I've got one for you, Seth, and one for you, Josh. You made a statement, Seth, on Dolly a long time ago. Something to the effect of, we haven't asked the right questions to find Sebastian yet. Do you remember that?
I do.
Right.
Can you elaborate on what you meant by that?
That's a good question too.
I stated that because I was wanting questions from the public that I hadn't already asked law enforcement.
What's up, Daddy's girl? Oh,
that was my way of trying to brainstorm questions.
Nice.
That would lead to finding Sebastian.
There we go.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense. I think some of our friends from the dark side took that question and twisted it and turned it, and I just wanted you to be able to clarify that.
There is nobody on YouTube immature enough to do that.
Wow. I want to be on on the YouTube you're on, Josh.
So Josh, let me hit you with a question. Your good buddy Chris. What does he think's going on here?
Well, I've talked to Chris about this case many times. I stay in touch with him about it constantly. And
what you're allowed to share?
He hasn't left the house. He thinks that the answers are there. He thinks that that's where the investigation should.
Well, maybe if Sumner County had ever done forensics in the house, we'd have something to take on, to go.
Yeah.
But maybe,
back to what you said, Josh, some of these small, counties don't even know how to operate, luminol.
I know. I
don't know how to put on a pair of glasses to spray a bottle, or how to put something on somebody's, PIN code and pull fingerprints off of it, or anything of that sort. I mean, the first 48 hours is the most crucial, and I was there for 3 days, and I never saw them do anything along that line.
And I think you were away when we were talking about this. Is the case, especially within the first 48 hours, was just shrouded with the belief that he was a runaway, and that's that was a huge hindrance, obviously.
The fact is that on day one, when I walked in and I saw all of the shoes right there, being a runaway is not possible. At that point in time, that should have been doubt put into that detective's head when I sat there and stated all of his shoes are right here. And then Katie turns around and agreed that all of his shoes were there. His backpack was there. His coats were there. I mean,
Seth, I don't believe he's a runaway at all.
I don't either. Never have. My son's never been an eloper. There's only one thing that would make him run away. He was running away from a dangerous situation.
Yep.
I don't think he left the house on his own.
I don't either.
I don't see how he walks out the front door, the back door, any other door, and dogs don't hit on a scent that is that fresh.
That neighborhood is so, upper middle class.
Right.
That
it's upper class. It's really not upper middle.
You say upper class?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, the homes are beautiful. The place is nice. I would think that most of those homes have some Ring doorbell cameras or cameras mounted. I'm sure that I would just be shocked if there's not a trail of cameras. You know what I mean?
There is. We broke it down in April. We broke them down in April. There's a bunch of cameras. There's a bunch of cameras. That's why I've been saying since April, somebody has something on footage. They're just afraid. And when it comes to what we're hearing, listen, I deal with people that are afraid to turn stuff over to the FBI. Can you do it for me? Yeah, I'll do it for you. If you're not comfortable, look, I've already contacted him one time. You know what I'm saying? I've already contacted him one time. So after that, what's different? I'll turn it in. Maybe they're afraid not only, sorry if you can hear her attacking her toy there. Not only you're afraid to turn it over because of who it has on it, but you're also afraid to turn it over because you know what I'm saying. You catch my drift.
And there's more cameras in that neighborhood than there are I would.
Yep. We broke it
I would
down in
say there's
April.
more cameras in that neighborhood than there are in the fucking jail.
Yeah. We broke it down in April. Who has what? Looked all over Kellen, Stafford, both of the little side street cul-de-sacs. We broke it down. There's a lot. That's why I came out with that photo way back in the beginning where I wanted to search the top left of the neighborhood, because if he didn't get seen on any of these cameras, that's the only place he could have went. The only place he could have went. Oh my gosh, she's tearing that thing up. The only place he could have went was through the backyard up and to the left if he wasn't caught on anybody's surveillance. And that's just, I mean, there's so many cameras going both directions. That's why I said somebody has something. They're just afraid.
That has always been something that I can't get over, is that, you know, okay, there's this runaway theory that they went with right away. Okay, well, you know, let's pull camera footage. If he did run away, we would see him walking out of a house, I would believe, somewhere. The fact that there's nothing would indicate that somebody took precautions to make sure that he wasn't on camera.
And the only way you get out of there with no scent, I mean, I guess there's more than one way, but you know, if he leaves out of there in a car or some other way, is the only way the dogs don't hit on that, right? I mean,
right.
There's not a multitude of ways that happens. Josh, do you have any other questions that you?
I think that we've covered quite a bit.
So what I want to do is I want to thank the chat, overwhelmingly positive tonight. I want to thank our very hardworking moderators. I want to start out by thanking you, Josh, for joining us. We have been blessed the past few months to work with some good content creators. You know, I could go down and start naming them. I mean, you know, everybody knows we work with Betty, we work with Brittany J, work with Justin, work with Mr. and Mrs. E. Recently, you know, we've seen some real good work by Silver on the Scene, by CJ, and got to meet him and Nart Diver. I mean, and we're going to leave some people out. You know, War Eagle's putting some pretty good stuff out there.
Got a little name there.
What's that? War Damn Eagle, my bad.
There you go.
But you know, and there's more than that. I mean, there's more creators out there that we're missing. I've got you know, my old reliables on TikTok that have been here for us since day one. You know, Cajun and Chasing Crime. You know, and then the people that may not have a platform, but that are supporting the content creators that are supporting Seth. You know, you guys are the real MVPs. So we appreciate you more than you know. We feel the love, the prayers, the support. Stand by, you know, for information about an event that will be a public event over in Hendersonville on December 7th to honor Sebastian on his birthday. We will also have a smaller private event over in Clarksville that will be just a few of us at, but we really want the public to get around that event in Hendersonville. Don't know where it is yet, but we will have details. I want to say one more thing, and then I'm going to let you and Seth close it out. Sumner County, Eric Craddock, congratulations on your election win. I know that you listen and watch and pay attention to everything that we do. So I'm going to speak to you very directly, Mr. Craddock. I would beg you to answer the same question I've been asking you for 8 months, and I would love for you to come out and answer it publicly. Are you any closer today to finding Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers than you were on February 26th? That's my only question for you.
To add to that, I'd like to see some proof that you are, because your word means diddly squat to me. I'd be a better sheriff in my sleep than I think you could be. And I know that you've been running that sheriff's office since January, which means you were running that office almost 2 months before my son went missing. So you can't put it off on the sheriff that's deceased, sir. And calling you sir isn't a due of respect. It's just the fact that you are surely a waste of my space and time until you can prove me otherwise. You don't deserve that badge that is on your chest. That badge is supposed, we are supposed to represent the badge. The badge does not represent us. We are supposed to uphold that badge, uphold the Constitution, and uphold the people that have put you in that position and make them proud, not yourself proud. You ain't making me proud of that badge.
Elected officials are, you got to remember that the sheriffs are politicians first, and they just always are. I don't know much about the sheriff nor the sheriff's department. I find it disgraceful that after all this time they do not keep in contact with you. I don't know if they keep in contact with Chris and Katie. I do know that.
Not by a text message either. Spend the fucking 5 minutes. Spend the fucking 5 minutes on the phone.
In the Bible, the Lord tells us to pray for our enemies, which is probably one of the hardest things to do in the world. But at this point, what choice do we have? And I also pray for Chris and Katie. I really do. I really honestly do. I pray for Sebastian, you, Seth, and Tony. I know that for some reason people think that you rake in the bucks for doing this. I know that you don't. We've had that conversation, and it's a shame that that's where most people's thought process goes. You're Seth's friend. That's what I've seen. That you care for him and that you love him, and that he trusts you. In a world where it's hard to trust anybody,
finding somebody that you can trust it just increases the amount of hope that I have.
Thank you for being there for him.
I thank you, Tony. On a positive note, I thank Sebastian's Army for being out there. Everybody on panel is part of Sebastian's Army. I'm part of Sebastian's Army, and I appreciate everybody who is coming together, that is keeping their eyes out looking for Sebastian. You see something, you say something. He's out there. We just got to find him. We got to find him. He's a lost child in this world, and it's time that he comes home. And I want to thank everybody that showed up. I haven't seen chat. I was told not to pay attention to chat, Tony.
It was from what I've seen. I mean, it was moving pretty good. It was pretty good, and the mods were unbelievable as usual.
You know, well, Tony didn't want me to be distracted by everybody. He wanted me to stay on task and focus.
Well, there's a lot of love here.
I appreciate it.
A lot.
I'm feeling it.
A lot.
I'm feeling it with it's telling me there's almost 4,400 people in chat right now, and they're all Sebastian's army. Sebastian has a lot of people that are looking for him, and I'm not going to stop till the whole world knows my son is missing and what he looks like, and I want the whole world to help me find him. Sebastian's army will be a world army. If it takes the world to find my son, then I won't stop until the world knows that I'm looking for him. And I want to thank everybody that showed up for this. And I appreciate your support. And I want everybody to be blessed.
God bless you guys. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
And it's just about Sebastian. Finding Sebastian. That's all that matters. That's all it's about. Reported missing tomorrow, 9 months. Today, 9 months that he was last seen. I want to thank you all for hanging out. Thank you for all your support. When we're out there doing what we're doing, it means everything. Your energy, your prayers. It's just sad when you hear what he went through the first 2 days. And then kind of explaining my story a little bit. And I can't even imagine. The crazy thing is after we go through this, the crazy thing is, to me, is that this whole time, as it's gone on all these months, and he's made these comments in the past, and it's like, well, maybe that's why they're not saying nothing. After getting done, not only watching it live, but also as we've broke down the 2 different hours, I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think, when I look back at those comments that were made, I don't know how I could have kept my mouth shut. And I'm just saying, for me, I probably would have said something a hell of a lot more. Because I wouldn't be able, I just don't know how I would be able to control myself in that. I just don't. So there's a lot of key parts in this that were very important and interesting, and a lot more than we even thought we knew. A lot more. Not just with the conversation, but everything beyond that too. The investigation, the searches. It's crazy. I appreciate you guys. I'm about to crash out here shortly. And so I plan on being on tomorrow night, but you know how it is when I get back from these trips and I push myself this hard, I end up like sleeping the whole damn day. So I would like to be back on tomorrow night, I don't want to promise, but I should be able to. Um, so just look for the noti just in case. 6:37 Central. And see if we're on if you don't get a notification. If not, we'll be back on the next night. We're going to be going through more stuff. I think instead of watching these other episodes, I think we need to go through this dispatch stuff too. Especially after hearing all this and, how they were treated. So I want to say thank you all for being here. Appreciate you so much. Please hit the like if you haven't yet. Have a peaceful, positive evening. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so, and we'll try and be back tomorrow. It just depends on how the rest goes. If not, we'll definitely be back the next night. We got to get a game night in here too. We didn't get one on my last time back here. We need to get one of those too. So thank you guys so much. Please be safe tonight. Hug, call, message the ones that you're close to. Let them know how much you care about them. Because you just never know. We're never promised tomorrow. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you on the next show. Hold on, I'm pausing my intro. I apologize. I want to say contribution call out here. 1 second. I apologize, Matt. Contribution call out to Matt. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. And that's that green wave. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I apologize for missing it. We won't on the next show. Love you guys.